the Christopher Ward Bell Canto, the C1 Bell Canto. Finally have my hands on one. Honestly, I could have handled, or I have handled one a long time ago, but I could have done a video on one a long time ago directly from Christopher Ward, but I really didn't want to do it until they were kind of like readily available. So we are at that state of the game where you can go over to the Christopher Ward website. I'll put a link down below and you can purchase one and they will ship it to you. At least I think that's the status we're in right now. And if it's something that interests you at the price point, if you're able to swing that kind of coin, because they're like $4,200 on bracelet, I think it's a pretty sweet watch for that price point. It offers something that you don't see in a lot of other watches, and that is the complication of it chiming every 60 minutes. So at the top of the hour, it's currently set up to slam that hammer down, which is, let me get a pointer. This hammer right here is going to snap down and hit this, you can see it there. That's basically the chime, that back and forth piece of metal in there. It's going to hit that and it's going to make a little ding. Now you can hit this button here. You have it, the red indicator pointing at the audible squiggle. So that means the chime is turned on. If you hit that button, you can disengage that. It'll disengage that whole complication. So it's pretty sweet. It's a pretty sweet watch. So as you can see, the time is kept up there up top with a smaller sub dial or main dial, if you will, up at the top at the near 12 o'clock position. That's where your timekeeping is. And it's nearly 10 o'clock. So it will chime when it gets there. So I'll just kind of show it off a little bit. There's a bunch of different really cool colorways. There's limited edition colorways. There's exclusive colorways that you can only get in certain locations. All of that exists. This is all grade 5 titanium in construction. So that's really cool. The time, I didn't set the time to match the actual time because I'll show that on some other watches. But the case on this, I measure 41.5 millimeter. The lug-to-lug 47.8. 13.4 thick, 22 mil opening between the lugs. Tapers to 17 and a 6.5 millimeter signed push-pull crown. So I do want to kind of show, I don't know if I'm going to be able to time this right, so hopefully you'll be able to see it happen. So if you bear with me, there's no running seconds, so I don't know when it's going to happen. So there you go. Hopefully that audio showed up on the microphone. If not, I'll go back and cut this up a little bit and highlight that a little bit. But it's a pretty cool thing that it does. And you can see the hammer had dropped, and then what it does is it's going to pull back using the power reserve. It's going to pull back and reset for the next chime, which it has 60 minutes to do that whole process. Now the movement inside is actually called the FS01, and FS is for Frank, and hopefully I don't mess up your name, Frank, but it's Frank Stelzer, and Frank is the one that came up with this complication. I'm not a watchmaker, so, and I'm not any sort of authority on the way complications are constructed, but it's basically a Solita movement, SW200, that is stacked up, and typically Ward would have used a jumping hour function in this complication, but Frank was just like, well, a jumping hour snaps that hour into location. You could use that same type of logic to slam a hammer down onto an audible array here that would create this. So thankfully, somebody thought of it and then was able to execute it. So the amount of research and development that goes into executing something like this is probably fairly extensive, I would guess. I mean, even if you can minimize it and make it seem simple and easy, like I just tried to do by babbling about something I don't fully understand for 20 seconds. I mean, these guys actually did it. These watchmakers actually did it, and they did it with the support of the brand. So again, it's just another clear case of we are in probably the best time to be part of a watch hobby, because we get to see things like this. We get to see great products from brands that can afford to be innovative at some level and create cool things like this. And hopefully the public responds. In this case, they did. I think the Bel Canto has been very well received within the community at all levels, at all watch enthusiast levels. So the success of this watch is clear and obvious from was it been a few years ago when I was able to see it in New York. I think it was like 3 years ago. One of their watchmakers literally pulled it out of his pocket. It was like a prototype of a prototype at that point, and he showed it to me, and I was like, I didn't even understand what I was looking at. So to see it in its full iteration here, and it's just freaking awesome. So I have to say big thanks to Colby, my buddy Colby, for allowing me to see this one, as well as that Orange Dial Ward in the background. And then as soon as I get done with this video, I'm actually shipping this off to my other buddy Keith down in Florida. Both Colby and Keith are down in Florida, and they do a little bit of buying and selling and trading with one another. So this was Colby's, now it's going over to Keith, and you didn't need to know any of that, but I told you anyway. So I get to see the watch and share it with you guys. Now the case back is solid, still has a sticker on it, and you can see it kind of has like an audio type print on the back there. And the reason it's solid is that will help project that sound a little bit more than if they would have done a display case back. And I don't know what the movement looks like, but it definitely looks really cool on the top side, and that's really the components that are most visually appealing and audible. So that whole mechanism right there is really cool, and it's on display for everybody to see. And yeah, you can still tell time with it. It's still a watch. Let me pop it on my 7 1/4 inch wrist so you can see what that looks like. If you have not had the opportunity to handle one of these, you got to go to either their showroom. The Ward showroom, I think, is in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere near there. And then, of course, the Ward team, Michael Pearson and whoever else he can get to go with him to assist, set up at the booth, will be at all of the wind-up watch fairs. They're at District Time. I don't know if they're going to be at Minutes and Hours. They go to a bunch of shows, and then they do all these other events elsewhere too. So the opportunity is definitely there. It's just whether you can make it or not. So it does have, of course, their quick adjust clasp system, and then good screw pins and everything. It's a really well-built watch. Now, it's not something you probably are going to wear every day, but you could. I suppose you could. There's loom on this thing too, so we'll turn off the lights and we'll check out the loom. You know what else is titanium and could ding every hour is this guy right here, a G-Shock. Now, I fancified it a little bit because I grabbed my MRG, which is also titanium and pretty close to the same price. I think these are like $3,500. This is $4,200, so you're approaching that same price point. And yeah, you can set this thing up to ding every hour too. It just does it in a less cool way. This one does it in a way cooler way. I think we can all agree on that. Of course, you can probably have like an F91 do it every hour too. But yeah, you still have loom. It's still legible. It's first and foremost a watch. You can hear it. The dinging part is really cool. Like if you're in a setting where you don't want to look at your watch and you can still kind of hear it, then you know you're at the top of the hour. So like you got to like jump to the next meeting or do whatever you got to do. It's kind of a fun little thing. So I could see the merit and value in it, and have a little bit of fun in the hobby. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next vid.